Welcome to Sleep with History, where quiet stories help you slow down and drift gently into sleep. So get comfortable, take a slow breath, and let tonight's story begin. Before we begin, take a slow breath and let the noise of today slowly fade away. Tonight, we are traveling back to a quiet medieval village where a small watermill turns beside a gentle river. The morning mist still hangs above the water. Somewhere nearby, an old wooden wheel is beginning to turn. Inside the mill, sacks of grain wait quietly, while the first soft sounds of another day begin. There is no hurry here, only the river, the turning wheel, and the peaceful rhythm of medieval life. So settle in, get comfortable, and let us step quietly inside the old watermill. The morning has not arrived yet, but a faint grey light is beginning to appear beyond the hills. You walk slowly beside the river, following a narrow path through the cool morning mist. The grass beneath your feet is still wet with evening dew. Everything around you feels quiet, almost as if the village is still dreaming. Behind you, the wooden houses remain dark and silent. No carts are moving along the road. No voices can be heard from the village. Only the river is awake. Its gentle current moves between the stones, carrying the cool scent of water through the quiet morning air. Then you hear something else, a slow wooden rhythm, turning steadily somewhere ahead. Through the mist, the old watermill slowly comes into view. Its dark wooden walls stand beside the flowing river. The great wheel is already turning, moving patiently with the morning water. You stop beside the river and simply watch it for a moment. There is something peaceful about its endless movement. Nothing seems hurried here. Yet the mill has already begun its work. A small wooden door opens nearby, and an elderly miller steps outside. He pulls his woolen coat closer around his shoulders, then looks quietly toward the river. Before the village wakes, he must check the water. He walks toward the wooden sluice, watching the current move through the narrow channel. He knows this river well. He knows when the water is too strong water. This morning, everything seems calm. The miller makes a small adjustment, then watches the wheel turn once again. Satisfied, he slowly walks back toward the mill. You follow him inside and immediately notice the warmth. The air smells of old timber, fresh grain, and the faint scent of flour. A small lantern hangs from the wooden beams, its soft flame moving gently in the darkness. Around the room, large sacks of grain rest against the walls. Above you, the wooden machinery begins to move. The wheel outside turns steadily, and its power travels through the old wooden gears. Then, the heavy millstones begin to grind. A deep, gentle sound fills the room, blending naturally with the river outside. The miller checks the grain, then carefully adjusts a wooden lever. There is no need to hurry. The river sets the rhythm of the mill, and the miller simply follows its pace. You stand quietly nearby, watching the first grain disappear between the stones. Slowly, a fine stream of flour begins to fall below. It is a simple process, yet this quiet work feeds the entire village. The grain will become flour, and the flour will eventually become bread. Bread for farmers, bread for families, and bread for travelers passing through the village. Outside, the morning light is becoming brighter. A few birds begin singing from the trees, and thin smoke rises above the distant rooftops. The village is finally beginning to wake. But here, beside the river, the old watermill continues its peaceful rhythm. The wheel keeps turning, the stones keep grinding, and the river keeps flowing. You remain there for a little while, listening to the gentle sounds around you. There is nowhere else you need to be. No reason to hurry, only the quiet rhythm of the old mill, welcoming another medieval morning. The morning is fully awake now, and the quiet road beside the river is beginning to fill with footsteps. The first farmer arrives slowly, a heavy sack of grain resting across his wooden cart. He stops beside the mill and waits patiently for the miller. Soon, another farmer appears, then another, each carrying grain from a different little farmhouse nearby. The miller greets them quietly. There is no need for many words. He already knows most of their faces and often knows exactly which grain belongs to whom. One by one, the sacks are carried inside. The miller's hands move slowly, but he works with the confidence of someone who has done this for many years. The grain is opened. By early afternoon, the sunlight has become warmer along the quiet river. Most of the farmers have already left, taking their fresh flour back toward the village. Inside the mill, the sound of grinding continues. The old wooden wheel keeps turning outside, and the miller keeps working quietly. There is something comforting about the rhythm of the place. Water, wood, stone, all moving together. You sit near the small window, watching the river flow beneath the wheel. Beyond the water, the village fields stretch toward the hills. A few workers can be seen in the distance, moving slowly through the golden afternoon light. Inside the mill, the smell of fresh flour fills the air. Some flour rests lightly on the wooden floor. The miller brushes it aside, then checks the machinery once again. He listens carefully for every creak, every movement, every change in the sound of the mill. After so many years, he can tell when something is not quite right. But today, everything is working peacefully. Outside, a gentle breeze moves through the trees. The leaves rustle softly, and the river continues its endless journey. For a while, nothing important happens. And that is exactly what makes this afternoon so peaceful. There are no great events, no battles, no royal ceremonies, only ordinary people doing ordinary work beside an old river in a quiet medieval village. As the afternoon slowly passes, the sunlight begins to soften. The shadows of the trees stretch across the water. Inside the mill, the grinding stones continue their patient work. And you begin to notice that the rhythm of the mill has become almost soothing. The turning wheel, the flowing water, the gentle movement of the wooden gears, everything seems to move at exactly the same peaceful pace. Soon the evening will begin, and when the last light disappears behind the hills, the mill will become quiet once again. But for now, the old wheel keeps turning, and the peaceful afternoon continues beside the river. The afternoon slowly begins to fade, and a soft, golden light spreads across the river. The farmers have long returned home, leaving the old mill quiet beside the water. Inside, the miller continues his final work. The last grain of the day passes slowly between the heavy stones. Then the machinery begins to slow. The wooden wheel outside turns more gently with the fading light. The miller checks everything one final time, making sure the gears are properly set for the coming night. You step outside with him and notice how different the village looks in the evening. Thin smoke rises from chimneys. Small lights begin appearing behind wooden windows. Somewhere nearby, a dog barks softly. Then the sound disappears into the quiet evening air. The river has become darker now, reflecting the last pale light from the sky. The miller closes the wooden door and places the old wooden bar across it. Another working day has ended. You walk slowly along the riverbank, listening to the water behind you. The path feels quieter than before, and the cool evening air rests gently against your face. Ahead, the village lights become warmer. People are finishing their evening meals. Families are gathering inside their homes, and the busy sounds of the day are slowly disappearing. You look back one last time. The old watermill stands beside the river, silent now, its great wooden wheel almost motionless in the fading darkness. Soon the night will cover the valley, and the village will finally fall asleep, while the river continues flowing beside the silent old mill. The evening has almost disappeared now, and the last light above the hills has slowly faded into the darkness. You stand beside the river, watching the old watermill become a quiet shadow beneath the night sky. The great wooden wheel has stopped. For the first time since morning, there is no turning wood, no grinding stone, no steady movement inside the mill. Only the river continues. It flows beneath the wheel, moving quietly through the darkness as it has done for countless years. You follow the narrow path toward the village once again. The air feels cooler now, and the smell of damp grass rises gently from the ground. Behind you, the watermill becomes smaller with every step, but its peaceful presence still seems to remain beside you. Ahead, the village is glowing softly. Small candles shine through the windows of the wooden houses. A little smoke rises from the chimneys and disappears slowly into the dark evening sky. The village is almost asleep. You walk past the first few houses and notice how quiet everything has become. Earlier, people were carrying grain. Farmers were talking beside the mill, and carts were moving along the road. Now, the same road is empty. Only your footsteps can be heard against the earth. You slow down, taking in the peacefulness of the sleeping village. There is something comforting about the simplicity of this place. The day began with work. It passed with the steady rhythm of the watermill, and now it is ending quietly. No one is waiting for tomorrow to arrive immediately. There is no hurry. The villagers have finished their work. The miller has closed his doors, and the river continues flowing through the darkness. You reach a small wooden bridge and stop in the middle. Below you, the water reflects the faint light from the moon above. Small ripples move across the surface, breaking the reflection, then slowly letting it return. You rest your hands against the old wooden railing. The wood feels cool beneath your fingers. For a few moments, you simply listen. The river, the distant wind, and somewhere far away, the quiet sound of an owl. Nothing else. You look toward the hills. They are almost completely hidden beneath the darkness now. Only their outlines remain visible against the night sky. Above them, the stars have begun to appear, one by one, then in greater numbers, until the sky seems filled with tiny points of light. You stay there quietly, watching them. It is easy to imagine that people stood in this same place hundreds of years ago, looking at the same stars, listening to the same river, and feeling the same cool night air. The world around them was different, but the night itself must have felt strangely familiar. The river still moved, the stars still appeared, and tired people still looked forward to the warmth of their beds. You leave the bridge and continue toward the village. A warm light shines from one of the nearby houses. Through the window, you can see a family gathered around a small wooden table. Their evening meal is almost finished. A candle burns between them, casting soft shadows across the walls. You continue walking, leaving the warm window behind. Farther along the road, another house is already dark. Then another. The village is slowly disappearing into sleep. You reach the edge of the village and turn around one final time. Beyond the rooftops, you can still see the old watermill. It stands quietly beside the river, dark and peaceful beneath the stars. Tomorrow, the wheel will turn again. The farmers will return. The grain will arrive, and the millstones will begin their familiar grinding once more. But tonight, the mill can rest. The river can flow without hurry, and the old wooden building can remain silent beside the water. You begin walking back toward the quiet path. Your steps become slower now, not because you are tired, but because there is nowhere you need to hurry toward. The cool night air feels gentle, and your breathing becomes slower with every step. You can still hear the river, even after the mill disappears behind the trees. Its sound follows you, softly steadily, like a quiet reminder that the night is still moving. Eventually, you reach a small resting place beneath an old tree. You sit there for a moment, looking towards the dark fields. The grass moves gently in the evening breeze. Somewhere nearby, a few insects make soft sounds among the leaves. The village behind you has become almost completely silent. You close your eyes and breathe slowly. The day is finished. There is nothing left to do. No grain to carry. No wheel to check. No road to travel. Only rest. You imagine the old miller inside his small home now. His tools put away. His hands finally resting. The same river flowing outside his window. Tomorrow will bring another day. But tonight, he can sleep. And so can you. The darkness feels peaceful now. Not empty, but full of quiet little sounds. The river moves beneath the bridge. The wind passes through the trees. And somewhere far away, the old wooden mill rests beside the water. You take another slow breath and let your shoulders relax. The sounds of the village seem farther away now. The candlelight disappears. The windows become dark, and the entire valley settles beneath the night sky. You remain there quietly, listening to the river, watching the stars, and allowing the peaceful rhythm of this medieval evening to carry your thoughts away. Perhaps tomorrow, the first light will return above the same distant hills. The miller will open his door. The wooden wheel will turn, and another ordinary day will begin beside the river. But that day can wait. For now, there is only the quiet night, the gentle river, and the peaceful darkness surrounding the old watermill. So let yourself rest. Let the journey end here, and allow the sounds of the river to slowly carry you towards sleep. The old watermill is quiet. The village is sleeping. The stars are shining above the hills, and the river continues its endless journey, softly, slowly, until the night becomes completely still.